Hey guys, what is up? Unfiltered Creations back at it again with another video, but a bit different than what I would usually do. Recently I got this comment on my Eclipsia speed drop video, which you should totally go watch by the way, and it inspired me to make a video about things that I think are important to character design and story building. I won't be talking about physical design in this video that much because honestly there are plenty of other videos out there about that. There's way more information available, so. And before we begin, please remember that I am using my own characters as examples in this video, not because I think they're superior, but because I just know them best. I do use some examples from actual TV and stuff though as well, so. Anyways, with that out of the way, we can get into the actual video now. My first major points are going to be about a character's personality. The big issues I see with the character's personality and even experience when writing my own characters are on opposite ends of the spectrum. Characters that are one-dimensional are very boring, but characters with too much personality can also be an issue, though this is not talked about near as much. There are many probably better videos about building an interesting character, so I'm not going too in-depth about why flat characters are uninteresting or how to fix them, since there's plenty of information about that. I want to talk about why way too much personality can almost be worse. Sure, a distinct personality is what makes a character, but too much of a good thing can ruin that. Take, for example, a character who is overly friendly. There's nothing wrong with a nice or trusting character, but I often see characters like this turn into punching bags. They always get themselves into trouble because their kindness gets watered down into stupidity. They never learn from their mistakes and often cause conflicts for the other characters who have to save them because they're so ridiculously defenseless. Such a happy-go-lucky character can get annoying very quickly, especially with all that unrealistic and downright unhealthy optimism. A bubbly character is okay as long as there is some sense of balance. An example of this is Hypna from my upcoming comic, Ethereal Shadowed. She's very kind and always wants to see the best in people, but knows to trust her gut and her friends when they say something is wrong. On the other hand, you have the overly angry character. This sort of personality frustrates me the most personally. They have no idea how to treat people, and what subtle character development there is few and far between, not to mention almost unnoticeable. A loud or irritable character can be entertaining as long as they have other emotions than the rage of 1,000 hungry wolverines, TM. Eclipsia, the main character of Ethereal, is a character built from this sort of irritable personality. She's very serious, a bit easy to anger, and always has her spear ready to fight. But she is still friends with Hypna, Solstice, and Altostratus, although it has taken many years of friendship building for this trust to be there, and even then, there is still the rare occasion when it falters. While on this topic, I would like to say that balance in personalities is also important. Eclipsia has Hypna to remind her that there are always good people out there, and Eclipsia keeps Hypna grounded by reminding her that there are always some not-so-good people out there. My next point is about conflict in a story. Firstly, external conflict. Minor conflict between two characters can easily be solved too quickly or not quickly enough. If conflict is drawn out for too long, it will become redundant and frustrating, especially in the scenarios where the antagonist gets little to no consequences. Take, for example, the classic bully character you often see in cartoons. They can make fun of the protagonist and push their face in the mud with little to no consequences, but the second the protagonist slips up and gets mad, they get in trouble. It just seems like you resent the main character and kind of want them to suffer. Even if the antagonist does get their just desserts in the end, it often doesn't feel very satisfying. Conflict that is resolved too quickly, however, often feels forced. People need time to build trust with others, especially those who they were formerly rivals with, and might even feel like their ex-rival will need to prove that they've changed. Character development that is too fast or too slow can ruin an entire storyline. An example of character development that was maybe done a bit too fast is Amity from the Owl House. I love the Owl House to bits and pieces, but even I feel like 2 or 3 extra episodes would have made Amity's development and newfound friendship with Luz feel a bit more natural. Secondly, internal conflict. A character's internal conflict will add to the story and make them seem much more three-dimensional, even if the audience is the only one aware. A character's inner monologue will reveal a lot about them and help clarify things we didn't know before. It could even change the audience's point of view if one of the big plot twists is revealed through a character's inner thoughts. A character with zero internal conflict can easily turn into a cardboard cutout with no personality, because that could take away from their main goal. Sometimes a main goal might not even really exist without internal conflict. While we're talking about character development, I wanted to say that it is easy to think that it can only be or is only supposed to be positive, but this is not true. Negative character development can really add to a story. Corruption arcs, when done right, are honestly one of my favorites. If you're going for a more dramatic story, keep in mind that not everybody needs a happy ending, especially characters who start off good and become or reveal that they're evil. Sometimes it's refreshing to see a character become evil and stay that way just because they're a downright bad person. The third thing I want to talk about is why major character death, depending on the situation, is very important to a story. Such a dramatic event can really engage an audience and make them feel connected to the other characters who may be experiencing grief. Just remember that depending on the story, character death might not fit in with the theme or overall feel. If you're going for a lighthearted slice-of-life story with no real plot, it should stay upbeat and happy. If you're going for a more dramatic story, then major character death can easily add an element of drama and emotion that might otherwise be lacking. It is easy to understand why you might be afraid to kill off a character, but just remember that it's your story, which means you have no limits and no rules. One extremely important thing to remember when writing a character who's going to be going into battle or something similar is skill consistency. They shouldn't just be able to fight out of nowhere. They need to have time to build their skills, and watching them get better and discover what they can do can be entertaining. Take, for example, Laurel from Onward. At the beginning of the movie, we see her passionately following a workout routine, which seemed like an arbitrary detail thrown in for comic relief at the time, but at the end of the movie, she uses those skills to fight the stone dragon. Even if a character doesn't work themselves to the bone to prepare for battle, they can still fight. The last thing I'm going to talk about is more related to story building. One of my favorite things in shows that are just starting off is an aura of mystery. The Owl House and Amphibia are two of the newest and most interesting shows on Disney Channel, and one similarity is that the main storyline, though slowly set up throughout the first season, is still convoluted and keeps fans guessing. I love watching theory videos and hearing what others think about the upcoming episodes, especially now that the Owl House is on hiatus until season 2. If it would fit into the story, try not to reveal everything in the first part. Mystery is intriguing as long as all our questions are answered at the end, assuming your intention isn't to leave the audience guessing and confused. This gives you time to set up the main characters and explore their relationships with each other before diving into a more dramatic storyline. Well, that's all I'm going to talk about today. Thank you so much for watching, and remember that these are just my opinions, and you don't have to follow these as rules. It's just more so a guide that I made up. If you like this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share. Peace out, nerds, and don't forget to stay zesty.
Often I am upset that I cannot fall in love.